Breaking news. After the drone attack on a port only 200 meters from Romania, the UK warned that Putin's appetite for attacks near NATO land was growing. On Friday, British defence chiefs warned that Vladimir Putin's risk appetite for launching attacks near NATO territory had increased following a drone strike on a port located only 200 meters from the Romanian border. They further emphasized the potential use of drones by his military in place of cruise missiles to reduce the potential for a escalation in the event that one of these more potent weapons went astray and landed on NATO territory. Russia has launched multiple waves of attacks against Ukrainian Danube River ports using Iranian-made one-way attack uncrewed aerial vehicles, OA UAVs, according to the most recent intelligence report from London's Ministry of Defence. It's probably trying to pressure ships from other countries to stop doing business through the ports. As reported by the BBC, OA UAVs have struck targets as close as 200 meters from the Romanian border, suggesting that Russia has evolved its risk appetite for conducting strikes near NATO territory. In addition, the briefing stated, there is a realistic possibility that Russia is using OWA UAVs to strike this area in the belief that they are less likely to risk escalation than cruise missiles. Russia likely considers them as acceptably accurate, and they have much smaller warheads than cruise missiles. As the price of grain rose on global markets, Putin's military launched an attack on a major inland port in Ukraine in the early hours of Wednesday. In the Odessa region's Danube port of Izmail, a grain silo and other infrastructure were reportedly damaged. Since Russia tried to reimpose a blockade of Ukraine's Black Sea ports after withdrawing from a deal agreed with Kyiv and Turkey, which allowed ships to use them, this port, across the river from NATO member Romania, has served as the main alternative route out of Ukraine for grain exports. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine claimed that Russia had attacked his country with nearly 2,000 Iranian-made drones, targeting Kyiv and other cities, towns, and ports. He wrote on Twitter, in total, the terrorists have already launched at least 1961 Shaheds against Ukraine, and a significant number of them have been shot down. Not all of them, sadly. We're making an effort to shoot down more of them, or at least as many as we can. We are actively working to expand our air defense capabilities. Each of our ambassadors, as representatives of Ukraine, has a role to play in this. Everyone needs to pitch in for the win, for the survival of the human race, the safety of its citizens and the preservation of its natural beauty. The Defense Ministry in Moscow claimed that early on Friday morning, Ukrainian sea drones attacked a Russian Navy base near the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk, a major hub for Russian exports, and were destroyed by Russian warships. Defense officials in Moscow claim that on Friday morning, Russian air defenses shot down 10 Ukrainian drones over Crimea and suppressed 3 more using electronic countermeasures. Russian news agencies reported on Friday that Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu had visited the headquarters of the Center Army Group fighting in Ukraine. Interfax said that Shoigu thanked officers and soldiers for conducting successful operations near Lyman after being briefed by a group commander. According to Interfax, Shoigu was also briefed on the shortcomings of the Swedish model and shown a CV-90 infantry fighting vehicle that had been abandoned by retreating Ukrainian soldiers after being hit by a handheld anti-tank grenade. The report was consistent with Russian efforts to minimize the effectiveness of Western weapons and equipment supplied to Ukraine. General Valery Gerasimov, chief of the General Staff and overall commander of Russia's war effort in Ukraine, visited the front-line days before Shoigu's trip. Wagner mercenary group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin viciously attacked both men in June, accusing them of incompetence and distancing themselves from the situation before launching a brief mutiny against the defense establishment.